This is Joe at Sierra Specialty Auto. Welcome back to the shop. This will be part 2 of installing bearings in a 6x48 imported belt sander and the installation of a work table or work stop with a sacrificial and replaceable wear plate with kerfs to help dispose of debris from the sanding process. Let's get right to it. Mr. Pete would be happy to learn that this machine, even as cheap as it was, has a totally enclosed fan-cooled motor. There are no openings at either end. There's a fan in here, and so the grit stays out of the motor, and the motor is still feels good, sounds good, no issues with the motor. So now I get to try to get this thing back together, and as I recall, it was a kind of a fire drill trying to hold the table in place and get fasteners in there at the same time. I may possibly end up moving over underneath my chain hoist to give me a hand, but I'm going to try it. Alright, that bearing registers in a spot there. Now here's where I'm hoping to save myself future trouble with the carriage bolt. Put that in here, and there is a slot for the carriage bolt. Come on, here's the fire drill part. Okay, now I have to try to get that to stay in the register. Oops. My bright idea is a pair of helping hands from my better half. So this ought to make the job go a little easier. I'll hold this in position and put the bolt in, and my wife will put the washer and the nut on. We hope this will work. There's the washer, righty tighty, just perfect, absolutely perfect. There we go. That was so much easier than what I was trying to do. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll take it from here. Another bolt and nut on from the bottom. That's hard to get to. I may have to put the table upright. No, I think I'm going to get it. All right. Got it. Okay, this is not going to help me if I have to take it apart again. I'll have to go through all this, removing the platen, the whole thing again. But what it will let me do is tighten these. If I should choose to put this in the upright position, these need to be tightened, and having the carriage head bolts will allow me to tighten this. I was not able to tighten it before. I could just get them up snug, and then the whole fastener would begin to turn. So this will take care of that problem. I don't use it vertically very often, but if I should choose to, I'll be able to, and safely be able to lock it in the upright position. I want to leave this right now where I can still move it. I can't get to that bottom one when it's down, so I'm going to leave it just snug. and I'll tighten the top one because this is the position I use it in most of the time. Okay. Now let's get some belts and pulleys back on here. That's the larger one. Goes on the drive shaft. Smaller pulley on the motor. Get that keyway lined up. There we go. Oh, have we gotten a little too tight there maybe? Shouldn't be. There we go. Oh, where are we hanging up? Maybe I got that too snug when I ran it back in. Don't want that too tight. And that appears to be about right. Now for some reason, the set screw in here is, or was it the motor pulley? One of them is on the back side of the keyway. Must have been the motor pulley. Let's get a look in there. Okay, this one is accessible, bearing on the keyway. The motor is not. I don't know why that would be. I sure am glad I don't have to do this very often. I've probably had this tool, I've probably had it 40 years or close to 40 years. I got it from a liquidation place in Minnesota. It was sort of a predecessor to Harbor Freight. It might even have been called salvage. Remember in the old days it was Harbor Freight salvage? And they deleted the salvage part. This outfit in Minnesota sold the same kind of tools and equipment for the same kind of prices back in the 70s. Let's see. Get a straight edge and see how we look on those pulleys. I need to be in a little farther with this one if I can get it. If it won't move, I'll pull this one out. It does not want to move. Let's tighten that up where it is. And we'll loosen this and bring it out. All right, pull her back out just a hair. Till we get these lined up. May not be loose enough. There we go. All right, the flange on this pulley is a tiny bit thicker than the flange on the other pulley, so I don't get a really good guide across both of them. That's about as good as we're going to get. Let's put her right there and lock her down. Okay, I see here it's the Platen that has the set screw opposite the keyway. Now I'm going to put this on here and take a measurement. I'm going to drill a hole in here so that I can use a long Allen driver to get in at this, because this thing is horrible to try to get at that set screw when it's in here inside that enclosure. If I do this, drill a hole here, I'll be able to get at it a lot easier. So let's put that on there. First, let's get an idea how far that is from the face of the Platen. We're looking at about 9/32 there, and 9/16 or 18/32, so 27/32 from the face of the Platen to the center of the hole. There we go. Okay, so I want 27/32 in from the face get a Sharpie here so I can make a mark when I find it. I've got to kind of eyeball that. What have I got there? That's about 7. So let's go 20 from the roll here to a center mark. That ought to do it. And we'll center punch that. I'm clear there, that pulley or Platen is clear. All right. Now we have a dust cap here. Not in very good shape. I'm going to try to get it back in that hole, see if I can get it to stay. I think part of the problem is that the hole is not round. We looked at that earlier, but it's there, so there's a good start on that part of the project. Got that working smooth and free. And we need to put the belt on. And this is a non-directional belt. It does not have a scarf joint in here. It's a butt joint with a piece of adhesive tape. So the direction does not matter on here. reasonably close. All right. As rough as that sounds, it's a whole lot better than it was. Belt needs to be adjusted, but we're close. Now I need to get my hardware in here for my new table. Let's get that out of the way. I have a couple of angle clips here made, one for each side. Got to remember how I had planned to use them. Well, they have to be like this. Yep, all right. When I had this table off the last time, I'll get you close up here. I machined these sides of the table set up in the milling machine and machined them flat. So I got some true surfaces here to work with on this side and on the other side. Again, that was prior to my videotaping days, so I don't have any footage of that. I wish I did. It was a little bit of a tricky setup because there are not very many regular edges on this thing, good surfaces to grab a hold of. It was a kind of a funky setup in the milling machine, but I got it to work. And got all this hardware made and painted, ready to bolt up. Now, the one slight disadvantage to this is that I do have to take the, let's see, am I doing this right? Yep. All of these holes were drilled on the milling machine, so they all ought to be in the right place. A little more hardware. Now let's mount the, I don't know if this qualifies as a table, might be just a stop. I'm going to call it a stop. And the minor disadvantage to this is that in order to change the belt, I'll have to remove the 3 screws on this side, 2 into the main frame of the sander body, and 1 on the table. But that's a minor issue, and it doesn't happen very often. Get the right wrench at hand, and it would take probably less time to do it than I'm spending talking about it. Table, of course, is set to clear the belt by, about 1/16 of an inch. Ought to be plenty. Don't want your fingers getting caught or your work getting caught down in there, but got to clear the abrasive. Okay, that part's done. Here's my setup for cutting the curves in this sacrificial anti-friction plate for the work stop on the belt sander. I've got this set for a 1/16 depth of cut, 62.5. My mounting screws in here are clear of the surface by a little more than that. And yes, I can hear the laughter from here. This is a piece of 2x4 secured to the angle plate with deck screws. and a couple of sheet metal screws, oval head screws holding this angle clip onto the 2x4, and the regular mounting bolts are in here. But for this particular job, I think this is going to be plenty secure. I've got the depth of cut set. I'll use the knee feed to raise the knee 200 thousandths at a time to space these curves 0.2 of an inch apart. And I think I have room up here to get all the way to the bottom with this setup. The quill is at full extension, 4 inches. That's about the only thing I don't like about this tree milling machine. It would be nice to have the 6-inch quill travel of a Bridgeport, but 99% of the time 4 inches is enough for what I'm doing. So let's give this a try, see how it works. Lather, rinse, and repeat. I'll fast forward this till we get just about to the end. Talk to you then. Oh boy, that was tight, but it made it. Got all the way to the bottom. Let's get that around here and see what it looks like. Very sketchy setup, but that worked. That did the job. Let's get a little closer look at it. Hope the light is good. Maybe I need a little more. Not sure if that helps or doesn't help. But I'm very happy with that. Let's go put the machine back together with this plate on it. This will be, I hope, the final assembly of this work stop or table, small table, onto the belt sander. Got the curves cut. Everything looks good here in this wear plate, this sacrificial wear plate. Should work well to reduce friction and is replaceable if necessary. As I mentioned before, this is a piece of Corian countertop, 1/2 inch thick. Scraps that I accumulated years ago and still am able to make use of. Figure these will be a lot easier to tighten up before I mount the table in place. These retaining screws are a 32nd or so below flush. All the hardware is going together nicely. I love it when a plan comes together. All right. There we have it. We can run material back and forth on here without having it take off and head for the back of the table. Clearance for the belt. I'm pretty happy with that. That came out quite all right. Everything worked pretty much as planned. Had a bit of a sketchy setup there, machining the curves in that wear plate, but considering the job at hand, it was certainly adequate and worked very well. I want to thank Robin Renzetti for his idea of the curves to help guide the swarf away from the work surface. As always, Robin is tremendously knowledgeable in this kind of stuff. A wonderful resource. There'll be a link to his YouTube channel, and if I can figure out how to do it, to his Instagram photos of the wear plate on his chamfer meister. So this job is done, and we'll close this out right here. I hope you'll comment. I hope you'll subscribe. I really hope you'll come back to the shop again. Thanks for watching.